First of all, thank you as members of the media for heeding our invitation to this media briefing. It is important in many respects, but mostly because it marks the beginning of the symbiotic relations that we want to nurture going forward. As the NC, we believe this is a national project and no one has a monopoly of information. We understand the important role that the media play in spreading the game of football to every ear and eye, nationwide and abroad. The first 6 months of our tenure focused on internal analysis, and of course it took longer than we expected. The rest of our tenure will be on building football from the grassroots to the formulation of the Congress. It is important that you get the picture of what we have done since our appointment in July 2023 to where we are now and what we intend to accomplish before paving way for the election of a new board. Despite obvious challenges that we have faced.
Do you mind maybe if we stop for everyone else?
Oh, okay.
Maybe since it's quite a...
About the importance of the media within the framework of football. And we really appreciate members of the media heeding our call or our invitation to this briefing. We feel it is important in many respects, but mostly because it marks the beginning of the symbiotic relations that we want to nurture going forward between us and the media. As the NC, we believe this is a national project and no one has a monopoly of information. We understand the important role that the media play in spreading the game of football to every ear and eye nationwide and abroad. As I alluded to, within our first 6 months, we've mainly focused on internal analysis, and of course, it took longer than we had expected. For the rest of our tenure, we will be building football from grassroots to the formulation of the Congress. It is important that you as the media get the picture of what we have done since our appointment in July 2023 to where we are now and what we intend to accomplish before paving way for the elections of a new board. Despite obvious challenges that we have faced, we have managed to accomplish notable things to set the tone for the critical period ahead. Just recently, we hosted the African Schools Football Championship. One of the greatest highlights of our first 5 months was this hosting of the African Schools Football Championship for the 12 to 15-year-olds, both boys and girls, which was held on the 14th to the 16th of December. To host such a successful regional event so soon after our return demonstrated how capable we are as a nation. It gave us an opportunity to enhance our relations with different stakeholders, different stakeholder groups, especially the COSAFA as well as the CAF regional bodies, but more at home. It gave us an exposure to work with SRC, the Ministry of Sport, as well as the Ministry of Tourism, as well as, what is it, Zimra, because they facilitated a lot of things for which we're really grateful to them for. Yes, Foreign Affairs, all of them. We got an exposure to work with them, and we appreciated that. coming out from the CAF Schools tournament. However, the best part of hosting the games involved the auxiliary programs that were held to benefit Zimbabweans. Programs that were held which maybe didn't get as much coverage were the Young Referees Course, Young Reporters Workshop, Grassroots Festival, which was held at Mbari High School, a Safeguarding Workshop, and a CAF D license, which was conducted by, I think, some guys from Namibia. That was the first, one of the issues that we've actually concluded on. But prior to that, we also took part in the FIFA World Cup 2026 qualifiers competition. The biggest test that we faced as a new administration was to play the Warriors' home game against Nigeria away from home. We are glad that despite those challenges of not having our own approved stadiums at home, our players got the chance to play for their national team. We are hopeful that the next matches in June will be played in Zimbabwe in front of our fans. The two games showed us great potential that Zimbabwe has to be a force on the continent. What excited us the most was the willingness shown by the several players who came to play for the Warriors for the first time. You know, players like Ushesha, Edirino Mota, quite a number of them. They showed the passion that excited us of the potential going forward. The senior women team also returned to international football by participating in the COSAFA Women's Championship, where they finished third. Again, the performances show that the team has so much potential to be even better. We're going to ensure that they play as many games as possible this year so that they can fare better in future competitions. Another issue that we're tasked with within the first 6 months was actually the appointment of national team coaches. The NC appointed national team coaches to fulfill fixtures that were before us in 2023, albeit on short-term contracts due to factors that were beyond our control. Our engagement with the Warriors technical team, headed by Bout ended on 31st December. That is the same situation with Mr. Shadrack Mlauzi, who headed the women's tech team, the technical department as well. We know that stakeholders are eagerly waiting for the announcement of the coaches. The good news is that we're nearing completion of the recruitment process and the names will be revealed in the next few weeks. We have not put out an advert for this purely because from the first advert that we did, we've collected such a wide database of local coaches, foreign coaches, and we're just using this going forward. We believe it was a plus working with the legends. I think you'll notice that on most of our assignments now, we're involving former players, legends within the national team. We believe inclusivity is important. It is one thing that we value so much that we started implementing it by forging close relations with these legends. For our 2 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, we brought on board ambassadors, former Warriors captain Peter Ndovu, Moses Chunga, and Desmos Maringo, who is also the president of Football Union of Zimbabwe, Footballers Union of Zimbabwe. We strongly believe that legends have a vital role to play in the continued improvement of Zimbabwean football because they have walked the path before. This is also the trend at both the Confederation of African Football and at FIFA. Why do we feel it's so important to having these guys? You know, what we experienced in Rwanda was amazing. The coach will teach the players what to do, but when somebody like Peter gets 2 seconds just to talk to the players as a former player, they listen to him. Purely because they know he's been through the training that we're going through, and all he just told them is, guys, when you're playing for this, forget about your clubs now. You're now playing for the jersey, this jersey, and it's your opportunity, you know, to make a difference. And those kids responded exceptionally well. Yes, this is all about football, but again, we would want to come to talk about the Constitution review. A critical part of the NC's mandate is reviewing the legal instruments of ZIFA, especially the Constitution and the Electoral Code. We have had roundtable discussions with several stakeholder groups to get insights on areas that need attention. We are now seized with the formulation of the committee that will assist us in tackling that task. Once that is done, we will then be able to hold an annual general meeting to formalize everything needed to hold French elections in an enabling environment. We've also conducted a club licensing workshop. I think we invited PSL clubs to that event, and this was with the assistance of FIFA. It was a workshop for elite men's teams to assess the suitability of current competition standards. Several anomalies were noted, and the highest coaching qualification for Premier Soccer League coaches was reduced from CAF A to CAF B. The NC will continue to consult stakeholders to ensure that competition standards for all tiers are in line with our realities. Reducing from CAF A to CAF B was really purely because we've not been able to provide those courses. And this is something that we'll be working towards to make sure that coaching courses that will enable a lot of our people to be CAF A are available to the various coaches. Another area that we've been focused on is actually the staffing of the women's desk. We have decided to shift the organizational mindset, and this has started with the whole secretariat. To match the global growth of women's football, we recently recruited women's football officer. She will spearhead implementation of our women's football strategy in line with CAF and FIFA guidelines on how to grow the game. There is definitely going to be a revamp of women's football this season across all leagues. Another notable achievement that we feel is noteworthy was that when the mighty warriors came into camp for the first time, we insisted that they don't go to the village, ZIFA village, because it was substandard. We are now working to try and address that anomaly, and they were put in the hotels at the normal, where we normally put the warriors. They were put into a city hotel, and not only that, even the remuneration, they are now at par with their male colleagues, which we feel was quite important rather than just treating them as third-class citizens. In conclusion, I would like to share with you that, as the NC, our agenda is football. And that is what we want to solely focus on going forward, without dwelling on distractions. As you are aware, football players have a 10-year lifespan to build their brands. We like to see these players making more headlines than ourselves. Clearly, when ZIFA is hitting the headlines, it's usually for the wrong reasons. And we believe that back page really belongs to the players, both boys and girls, for them to be able to build their brand in this short period, a brand that will be able to employ them going forward. It might seem funny, but it is said that I think last year or the year before, one of our legends, Moses, was hitching a lift, and that became a newspaper article. It's ourselves. We are the ones who can build and bring down these players. And I actually think the press has a very important role in actually helping these people, all the players, build their brands. Finally, as individuals, nobody has a monopoly of knowledge, and in that regard, no particular path is correct, but eventually the goal is to get things done to the satisfaction of everyone. I thank you.